In my previous video about different stone farms, I showed you this farm. It generates stone on the sides, then generates blocks moved to the middle point and pushed down to the explosion point. Each side creates its own unique pattern, built in a shape of circle at the midpoint, and in the middle there are 43 pistons, which fires with the same period as the period of the explosion of the TNT. In this design we cannot push the stone down faster than once per TNT, since the explosion will not be able to destroy the blocks in the back layers. Because of this, there are only 43 generators and also not as good efficiency rate. But the main idea was quite promising. After I finished working on this farm, I started thinking about how to improve it. I found the next way to make vertical conveyor faster. You need to push the blocks with shape of wall, one block thick, and do it at the highest possible speed. In this approach, each TNT block will have a vertical wall around it, and there will be no stone blocks at the back and bottom, so we can retain all the benefits of the vertical farm. That means that items will not fall on unexploded blocks, and will not stuck there, because there are no such blocks. I tried out to build one side with vertical wall, and realized that it could already produce up to 40,000 stones per hour. As a result, let me introduce the design of this video, a vertical stone farm with 100 cobble generation points. There are 6 modules, 4 large modules of 20 generators each and 2 modules of 10 generators. All modules have overflow protection, since there are a lot of events where there is no room for the new blocks. Each module produces a continuous flow of stone blocks that move towards central piston. In center section there are 2 piston rings with the same activation rate. Need to provide overflow protection here somehow, and there is no room for obsidian blocks in the outer circle, so protection here is the push limit, 12 blocks. At the same time, there is free space in the inner circle, and we can use it for obsidian blocks. This helps to separate the conveyors of large and small modules, but because of this there is another problem. I use honey to slow down the TNT blocks before they explode, so they don't affect each other. Honey displaces the TNT block a bit aside, so it cannot be passed through the 1x1 hole without additional adjustments. And if we're going to adjust it, that means extra space for water, more timings and risk of exploding redstonery. So I have to slow down TNT only after the obsidian ring. Because of this, I have less ability to configure the explosion point. On the other hand, if I want to, for example, get rid of the bottom block of obsidian to increase the amount of exploded blocks, I will lose a lot of items. Now the items are protected from explosion by this block, and if I remove it, they will be destroyed. In short, I don't know which is better, it seems okay in current version. Theoretical limit for farm with 100 generators is 240k items per hour. It calculates for the main cycle of 30 game ticks, or 1.5 seconds. This is the maximum possible speed of generating cobblestone, linked with the lava flow speed. Because there is a conveyor system that fits 4 blocks per cycle, this time is not enough without using their ticks. With short redstone pulses, there are the following timings. Piston that powered with short pulse takes 2 game ticks on extending and 2 on retracting, so 4 game ticks to push a block. Then it will take the same amount of time to wait for a new block to be delivered to the face of the piston. And to provide the flow of the 4 stones, we need 32 game ticks. Theoretically, we can use 0 ticks here, and it make this much faster, but also way more complicated. And I wanted this farm to be more robust and rebuildable, so I decided not to use them here. As a result, the main cycle period is increased from 30 game ticks up to 32. That leads us to a new limit of 225,000 items. The actual production rate is about 215,000 items. The losses here are about 5%. There are items destroyed by the explosion, as well as the lack of space for new blocks. that creates traffic jams on the conveyor, and since there is no buffer, result is a less amount of generated blocks. As I said before, the main production cycle is 32 ticks, but the TNT duplication cycle is different, it is 22 ticks. Separating these cycles adds another tuning point in this farm. Here are the results of tweaking the farm with different values of explosion timer. You can see that for all periods more than 22 ticks, the result increases slightly with decreasing the period. The losses in this part are the blocks that were not blown on time and create traffic jams. For opposite side of the table, the result decreases drastically. Here all the losses are the items destroyed by explosion. Let's just take the best configuration for TNT cycle and consider it as the main one. Here I use odd period cycles using a repeater design like this. It takes advantage of the fact that the leaves block receives an update in one game tick, comparing the one redstone tick for all other redstonery, that is 2 game ticks. Using such trick you can create cycles with any period. As a confirmation of the results, there is a recording with the carpet mod activated. Here you can see the actual amount of stone using this mod.